Well, a contentious postcard today from King John's Castle in the city of Limerick, County Limerick. You know, it's so lovely to find a nice young woman in high office.
Oh, thank you, Russell.
Tell me how the development of King John's Castle, a pretty unique attraction,
most unique,
came about and the sort of things that you do.
Right. First of all, King John's Castle is 800 years old. It's a military-style castle, and it was built specifically for military purposes by the Normans 800 years ago. It's right here in the medieval precinct of Limerick City. It's a most historical spot because it withstood many battles and sieges, particularly 1642 and 1691.
You don't think of it, you see, as actually seeing war, but it did see war, did it?
Oh, it certainly did, and we have evidence of that. Apart from our history books, it came to light. First of all, we started excavation on the castle in February of 1990, and after the demolition of several blocks of houses, because it's difficult for a person to come in and imagine we actually had public housing in the centre of the courtyard. So when they were demolished, plus the last remaining walls of the barracks, a fascinating story emerged for us, telling us a little bit more about the people who lived here even prior to the Normans, namely the Vikings. Now, they would have come and they found Limerick in the year 922 because this is a very good strategic spot on the mouth of the River Shannon, and it gave the marauding Vikings very easy access to the very heart of Ireland, so they could plunder right through to the heart of Ireland. So this find was so spectacular for us that we were determined to protect and preserve it, not only for the people of Limerick, but for our visitors to come in, appreciate and explore the find. And down underneath the main entrance of the castle, we have the remains of 3 pre-Norman or Viking houses. We also have some of the original siege mines and countermines. They're like very large trenches. They're about 12 foot deep and 10 foot wide. They would have been used to weaken the east curtain wall or the front wall of the castle, which is the only wall, unfortunately, we are without today. We also found the last remaining walls of the bastion. Now, the bastion was a diamond-shaped figure made of solid limestone. So these are all here to be seen by the public. Now, our limitations to the architect were very difficult, so he designed a very modern interpretive centre, held up very cleverly on 8 steel girders in order to preserve and protect that find.
What a surprise to have found housing and underneath buried treasure.
Yes, a very treasure.
Who discovered it?
The archaeologist. And after this find, as I said, after the demolition of the houses, we opened the castle to the public 300 years after the signing of the Treaty of Limerick, to mark the commemoration of the signing of the Treaty of 1691. So the castle was opened formally with 4,000 people inside the castle walls and 4,000 outside. So it was a very formal opening by the Taoiseach, Charles Haughey, at the time. So people came in and they really did appreciate the fact that once more the people from all over the world could come and visit the King John's Castle of Limerick City, where all the history took place. And if one allows their mind to become immersed in the happenings of the courtyard, you would have had from the roar and speed of the cannon guns to the silence, but again the speed of the longbow, and the secret chamber and dungeons. So it is mystic, magical and historical, and the people who lived here prior to us opening up the castle doors to the public tell us that they have many experiences of ghosts in this castle. So it's mystical and magic and wonderful.
You have a wonderful way with words, you know, Patsy.
Thank you very much, Russell.
I know that people have come here and actually gone up to the tower. This is true. They've gone up to the tower and they have proposed marriage. It's such a romantic setting, isn't it?
Yes, we have had 4 proposals in the last 2 years, and we've had 5 brides and their grooms coming for photographs in the castle courtyard. Naturally, Limerick people linking up with strong history. And you don't have to travel as far as the Eiffel Tower to propose to. From the top of our towers, it's so romantic, Russell.
On a visit to Ireland in 1210, One of the many things that John did was to regularise the making of coins, which until then had been very haphazard and had not been standardised. He established mints in 5 castles in Ireland, Limerick being one of them. And the coins made in Limerick Castle were made of silver because of the availability of silver in a nearby silver mine in County Tipperary. The silver was brought in and hammered into sheets, and from it the blanks prepared to a particular weight. The dies we have were reconstructed from old coins that were found here, and his method of making them was very simple then. The silver, when prepared into blanks, was heated gently just to soften it enough to take the impression. The silver blank was put on the die on the bench, and with the other in his hand, he made money, as they say, literally hand over fist, like so. And so his coin was struck, as indeed coins were made over most of the world at that time, and until about 1500, each coin was hand struck.
I suppose the last thing I expected to find here is King John's castle, and presumably it's the King John who was much maligned in English history.
Yes, Russell, John is much maligned, but we were lucky to get this castle. He came to Ireland in 1185 when his father Henry had made him Lord of Ireland. And the story goes that he tweaked the beards of the Irish chieftains. But I think that that was bad publicity that he was getting. And he got bad publicity subsequently, and he became known as Bad King John. But in Ireland, he reorganised the church and the state, and he began the system of making counties in Ireland. So he didn't do badly here. When he came the second time in 1210, he didn't come as far as this castle, but obviously he had a good knowledge of the geography of Ireland, and this was the outer limits of the sphere of influence of the Normans, and it needed a castle.
What about him as a person? What kind of person was his character?
Again, it's very hard because you have to try to find his character through the historical books and what each of the historians has written, and each of them have had different outlooks. The one most commonly portrayed is the one which makes him out to be an austere, difficult king. And in contrast, Richard, his brother, is supposed to be the lion-hearted. Richard became lion-hearted because he spent most of his time at war and spent most of the money in the exchequer. John, on the other hand, while he was minding the house for Richard while he was away, was a prudent regent, and he looked after the taxes. He insisted on collecting them, but he didn't impose very heavy taxes. So I think he must have been a good administrator. I think he may have been, despite the stories, a good family man. Certainly he was good from a political point of view.
Do we know what the Irish thought of King John?
I don't think there's very much written about him, but like any of the Normans who came to Ireland, he was looked on as an intruder. The very same as they did in Wales. And if you remember, the way the Normans took over Wales and Ireland was they built their castle and said, I am the boss. And if you want to prove I'm not, come and beat me at war. The Normans were more efficient at war. So from the Irish perspective, I don't think he would have been considered anything other than another raider.
Did any other kings or queens from Britain come over here in the end?
I've no recollection of any of the other medieval or later kings. Certainly Queen Victoria came. And I think hers would have been the first formal royal visit after John's visit here.
So that whole period, whatever they say about King John, at least he made the effort.
And came twice. He was a real tourist.
Thanks, Pat.
Okay, thank you, Russell.